Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from the CUNY TV Foundation, Capital One Bank, Genova Burns, Giantomasi and Webster, New York Community Bank, the Witkoff Group, M&T Bank, Perfect Building Maintenance, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Greenberg Traurig, LLP, Kilroy Architectural Windows, New York's Window Company. Additional funding is provided by grants from AKA Hotels, Corming Communities, Aerial Property Advisors, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Colliers International NYC, Cushman and Wakefield, Customers Bank, DDG, Dime Savings Bank of Williamsburg, Eastern Union Funding, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Gemini Real Estate Advisors LLC, Herrick Feinstein LLP, Hersha Hospitality Trust, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, James Orphanides Centurion Holdings, Margolin Weiner and Evans LLP, Madison Realty Capital, Massey Knackle Realty Services, Matone Group, Meridian Capital Group, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, New Banks, People's United Bank, RBS Citizens Bank, SJP Properties, Sterling and Sterling, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra CRG, The Continuum Company, LLC, and these friends.
So, there are retail stores. There are relatives who come over from the old country. They open up stores, in Manhattan, with a push cart, and then they go to 14th Street, and then they grow to 600 stores. And then it's time to go to the next career. So today I'm very lucky to have Scott Galin, who is the CEO and principal at Handler Real Estate. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Michael.
So tell me about your great-grandparents, how they came to America and what I was alluding about the pushcart and everything on that.
Well, it was my grandfather, and came over in the
late 1880s?
Probably 1880s, 1890s.
Where'd they come from?
Poland, and was down on the Lower East Side with the rest of his folk. He was in his early 20s.
So he comes over, early 20s, one of the first relatives of his family.
Definitely.
And he gets a cart, like a push cart.
We'd call it a kiosk today, but I think they were push carts.
Okay,
then.
they were push carts, okay?
Yes, yeah.
And he would push on the cart, and what was in the cart?
Women's millinery, hats, gloves, scarves.
Did he manufacture them, or did he just bought them from someone?
I believe he bought them from someone.
Right.
And at some point in the early 30s, he and two of his brothers.
Two, but he had 8, you said.
He had eight
brothers.
8 brothers and two sisters, I believe. Yes.
And Mr. Galinsky at that time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what does Grandpa Galinsky do then?
Grandpa Galinsky and two of his brothers, one older brother and one younger brother, decide that they're going to graduate to a retail store. And I believe they opened their first store on 14th Street in Manhattan in the early 30s.
And the store was called Galinsky and Galinsky?
The store was called, for lack of a better word, G&G. G ampersand G. Very creative.
Okay, so Grandpa has the store with his brothers.
Yes.
So there are 3 brothers involved with the business.
Correct.
Your father is born, I believe, in what, 1935?
Yes.
Tell me about your mother's side.
My mother's father came over, I believe actually he was born in the States, and became an insurance broker in the early 30s, and then ended up opening a very successful and large insurance brokerage of his own downtown.
Now, where did your father and your mother grow up?
My father and mother grew up in Brooklyn. My dad actually grew up in a lot of places because his father had a proclivity for buying and selling houses and moving. My grandmother used to say he doesn't like to be in any one place for more than a couple of years. So my dad grew up in Brooklyn and then Forest Hills.
Right. And your mother and father met in high school, I think, right?
My mother and father met, I believe, at Camp Brookwood when they were 10 years old.
Now, did your father work in G&G as a kid?
I think my father did work in G&G in the city while he was in school and as a kid as well.
Right. Your father went to Wharton.
He went to NYU first, and then went to UP and back, I think, to NYU, and then decided he would join the family enterprise. Although I think when he made that decision, that wasn't necessarily one he thought would be permanent, but it turns out that it was for his career.
Now, they opened up on 14th Street in Union Square, G&G, but they also migrated to Newark, New Jersey on Broad Street.
Market and Broad in Newark, so I've been told at that time, was the #1 retail intersection in America. Newark was a tremendously successful city, and so they decided to open a store on Newark and Broad, and they had 14th Street. And then I believe they opened a third store, I believe, on 7th Avenue.
Right, but that was really going to the market. Right near the McAlpin Hotel, they opened up the store on 34th Street.
Right, the sort of iconic store was on 34th Street between Broadway and 6th Avenue, very close to Broadway, right across the street from what was the McAlpin Hotel at the time, and that store was the big baby.
So what was the store? What was G&G at that time before you got involved with this business?
Well, as a boy, I remember the store was full of stockings. That's all I remember. Women's stockings came in these thin boxes, and they came in various colors and sizes, and they were on all these shelves. And so they sold stockings and nightgowns at the time, and gloves. Women typically wore gloves during the day to business or otherwise.
So this was really, it wasn't a junior store, we would say. It was a ladies' apparel store that had certain limited products. Talk to me about you. You were born when?
I was born in 1959.
And you were born in?
I was born in Brooklyn Jewish Hospital and lived for a little while in Brooklyn, and then a few years in Forest Hills, and then when I was 5 or 6 years old, moved out to Great Neck.
Now, it's interesting because you were saying to me that you were very close to your late grandfather.
I was.
And your grandfather, you were an entrepreneur as a kid, and you were living in Great Neck, and your mother said you always wanted to go to work, and you were like 12 years of age?
I was just bar mitzvah. I was 13.
You're 13 years of age. Your mother says, fine, you can get on the train because Great Neck Station to Penn Station isn't that bad. And Grandpa they were going to pay you $1.50 an hour.
Exactly.
And for the $1.50 an hour, you'd go over there. We'll talk about the job in a second. The best part of working over there was that you had lunch with your grandpa.
It was actually, it was breakfast, and I would, my parents weren't thrilled with this idea. In 1971, New York City was a different place, and getting off the train and walking through Herald Square was not terrific, but I said I'll be fine. And I would take the train, get out at Penn Station, walk through a tunnel. I don't recall what this tunnel was, and if I went in that tunnel now, I don't think I'd walk through it.
I think the tunnel, to be realistic, was a tunnel between 33rd and 34th Street.
It was called an arcade.
Right. It was the Herald Square arcade between 6th Avenue and Broadway.
That's correct.
Okay? And which was perfect because it led you to the store.
Across the street from the store. And when, in retrospect, thinking about what I saw walking through that tunnel, I either was young or stupid.
So you would meet your grandpa for breakfast
at 8:30 at next door to the store.
You remember the diner? What
it was a coffee shop.
It was a coffee shop.
Yes, next door to our store.
And you'd sit down with him, and he would talk to you.
Yes, he was. It was great for him. Every Saturday morning, I'd show up, and we'd have breakfast, and then. Second or third week into this whole routine, he handed me $10. And he said,
I mean, you were getting $1.50 an hour, the $10.
I made $9 gross, and I insisted on a paycheck because my father, the first couple of weeks, handed me $10 when I got home. I said, no, I want a paycheck. I want a pay stub. So he went in the office the next morning. He said, pay him, give him a paycheck. Can he get working papers? And apparently I could at the time, and so I got my paycheck. And then, so between the commute and the dollar hamburger, I came home with $7. But my grandfather said, listen, I'm gonna give you this $10 every Saturday morning, but don't tell your father. He will not be happy. And I said, okay, deal. So the $10, you know, that was a large.
So what did you do? You're 13 years of age. You're at this store. At that time, really, they were selling gloves, hosiery, and maybe women's undergarments.
Well,
okay?
but by then the array had widened out. My dad was very involved, and junior sportswear is a notion that only came to be in the late 60s. There was no such thing.
So for my audience, what is junior sportswear? Because it was such an important aspect of your life. What is junior sportswear?
It was apparel that was a little hipper than typical sportswear for women, ladies, and so in the late 60s, early 70s, there were few pioneers. I believe my dad was certainly one of them that created a market for apparel for girls, let's say 13 to 20, which was never served before. You had children's wear or you had sort of ladies' clothes.
Right. So you're in the store, you're working part-time, and then you said to your dad, there's a location in Middle Neck Road or in Great Neck. What? Tell me about that.
Well, that was when I was in high school. By that point,
Right. 2 years later.
3-4 years later, and I remember I was living in Great Neck at the time, and Middle Neck Road, which was the main road in Great Neck, still is, at the time was a very busy suburban thoroughfare, a great retail space, and I was hawking my dad, we should open a store here, and he was like, Scott, don't be a real estate person, and so we ended up opening a store in 50 Middle Neck Road, center of the block. The store.
So you changed locations now. You left G&G on 34th Street and you went to Middle Neck Road.
I helped create a place for me to go work every day, and the store never was that great because he was right. We were catering to a much higher end clientele, selling popular price apparel, but it turned out to be a good real estate deal. I was there working 3 days a week and on Saturdays, and now I could get to work in 5 minutes. And
it was also a good deal matrimonially, right? Didn't you meet your wife?
I did. My wife is.
Did she grow up in Great Neck?
She did.
One day you meet her in the store?
I walked in the store one day.
You were trying to sell her some junior apparel?
No, I walked in the store one day, and there was this very attractive college girl working there. And I said to the manager, Barbara, who is that? She said, oh, she was at school and got ill and had to come home for the semester. So she missed the semester, so she wanted to work part-time. And so I introduced myself, and it turns out I sort of recognized her. She was a couple of grades ahead of me and someone that I wouldn't even approach in a high school hallway. And so I worked on the merchandise, and I worked on trying to get her to talk to me. And after about 2 months of me bothering the heck out of her, I said, look, here's the deal. My dad's having a 40th birthday party at the house, and I want you to come with me. And if you do, I promise I won't bother you anymore. So she said, okay, fair enough. So I marched in the house that night. It was a large party, catered by Bruce Ho, the Chinese restaurant in Great Neck. And I walked in with my college-age girlfriend, and I was a junior in high school. And all my dad's friends were very impressed. And by the time the party was over, I had convinced my wife that it wouldn't be so bad to go out with me again.
Okay. So you graduated high school.
I did.
And then you decided to go to George Washington, correct?
I went to Washington to school, and it was great. I loved the city. I was politically inclined. I wanted to go into law. But at the same token, I missed working. We had a couple of stores in suburban Maryland, and at some point, I think I might have worked. I had a car. I drove, and on Saturdays, maybe it was Laurel, Maryland. But my wife was in New York. We missed each other. She was at NYU, and I wanted to come back to work. And I told my parents, listen, I'm going to come back to either Columbia, NYU. I'm going to live in the city. This way I can work at the office. I'll be with Joyce, and all's good. And well, they said, okay.
So you go back.
Come back to New York, move into the city. I moved into Rubin Hall on 35 Fifth Avenue, a nice piece of real estate to live in as a dormitory. Right. I went to NYU. I worked every day because, as most parents now know and college kids know, you don't go to school very much when you're in college. 10 hours a week.
Now, were you still working on 34th Street?
No.
Well, you were elevated to the office now.
I was an assistant buyer, which basically meant you ran.
Wait a second. Now you left the retail to become an assistant buyer. What were you buying?
I was the assistant lingerie buyer, which basically lingerie was the absolute smallest category at that time. Now we were really a junior apparel store. So maybe the lingerie, it was 5% of the entire volume, and I was the assistant lingerie buyer, which meant I got a lot of coffee and wrote a lot of purchase orders for the lingerie buyer.
So now you graduate college, and you're thinking of law school. So what happens?
I was more than thinking about law school. I was going to go to law school. And I was either going to NYU or Columbia, applied to law school, and then all of a sudden I said, you know, I'm going to work for a year, and I don't feel like going to school anymore right now. And I went to work full-time, albeit I was working pretty full-time up until that. And all of a sudden, I was getting a real paycheck now. It wasn't a lot of money.
Were you still an assistant buyer, or you became a little higher at this time?
I became the pajama buyer, but we didn't carry pajamas. So one day I said, we should carry pajamas. And my dad said, Scott, nobody buys pajamas anymore. I said, well, let me try. So I think I became the assistant lingerie and buyer and pajama buyer.
Now, what year is this?
1980.
1980. Now, prior to that, you said to me, and it's very interesting because Michael Weinstein of Arc Restaurants,
yes,
was in the new issues, we would call.
Yes.
And if you watch The Wolf of Wall Street, Michael wasn't that way, but there were companies over there who went public, a lot of small companies, and one of the small companies that went public was G&G.
Yeah, Michael was certainly not that. Michael was one of the nicest, finest men I've ever met, and a dear friend of my dad's. And if I recall, he was with a firm called Knickerbocker Securities and took the company public. And I believe the entire offering was $300,000 on the American Stock Exchange. I still have the underwriting.
Which were probably the pink sheets.
They were pink or maybe a little redder than pink.
Right, but G&G is growing when you get there. You progress from lingerie, pajamas, to a merchandise manager.
Yep.
And you grow there, and then you meet the legendary Milton Petrie.
Yes.
So tell me about Milton Petrie and G&G and you, because it's an interesting part of your life.
Yeah, Milton Petrie at the time was a man who was an iconic person in the retail business, had founded at that time the biggest women's retail chain by far in America, all from one store in Cleveland, Ohio, and he turned out to be, became a very wealthy man, a gigantic philanthropist, and became famous. And he sort of chased after us to sell this, at the time it wasn't so little, a 50-store business to him. And I think my dad, who certainly was driving the bus at that time, was resistant because he had watched, that company buy other businesses and basically gobble them up and pay for them, and then the entrepreneurs found their way out. And so, that was sad for me because Milton did, made my dad a proposal that was hard not to do and offered the ability to grow our business. And I had mixed feelings. My mixed feelings didn't really count for much at that time. But shortly thereafter, I think he realized, Petrie that is, that my dad and I, our entrepreneurial spirit was best left alone.
Right, as opposed to which he had done from all the other acquisitions. He took them and he just took them over and he made them Petrie shops. Okay, with you, he saw that your dad and you had the capability of running a business, and you grew G&G, and then you created Rave. How was Rave created?
Well, just back to Petrie for a moment. Well, after us pushing back enough for the first couple of years, he realized, basically told everybody, leave them alone, okay? They know, they make money, leave them alone. Let them buy hangers from a different hanger guy in boxes. It may not make sense to you. You're all bureaucrats, but I know better, leave them alone. And he didn't say it as politely as that. Milton said things very simply.
Milton had a reputation, yes.
Yes, and one of my favorite people in my life, and people ask me who the 10 favorite people in my life is. In any event, by that time now, we had a couple of hundred stores, and we were principally in a trade area on the Atlantic coast, and we decided that we were going to do the Chicago market. So I was involved in looking for the real estate, and one day I think I and a few other people said to my dad, you know, G&G's a nice name, but, you know, it's just an accident of fate. If we're going to go
Right, it's not 1934 and the Galinsky brothers, right?
Well, no one knew it. In New York, everyone did know it. And,
Right,
and it
because
was
G&G was a
there was goodwill. If you'd said to a girl between 13 and 20 in these 4 states, G&G, I still say it to people, and they say, oh,
Right,
I
it was
shop.
like learner shops.
It
was
was.
like H&M to them.
It was. And I said to my dad, and a few other people said, Jay, when we open up in Skokie, Illinois, nobody's going to know what G&G is. Let's pick a better name. So he agreed, and we hired marketing firms and tested names, and we came up with the name Rave. And so from there on in, any store we opened outside of the trade area became Rave, and then subsequent, we opened what was called a tween chain, Tween, which is the little sub-market between 11 and 14 that Limited Chew sort of invented, if you may, and that was called Rave Girl. So we had G&G, Rave, Rave Girl, and then we had some other names for stores in Puerto Rico.
Right, now you progressed to be the head of G&G and Rave.
Yes.
Growing at this time to close to 800 stores, right?
I think at the peak we had about 600, all aggregated, 650 stores between all the divisions. And we probably were in 43 states and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands.
It's 2004. You say, hey, I've been in this business literally my entire life,
Yep.
you know, starting at 13, you know, on 34th Street, and it's time for me to try another business. So tell me what you did for a couple years before you joined Handlers.
Yeah, 2004-ish. My dad was ill at the time. The landscape was very difficult to begin with. We were still a profitable company. We were partly owned by a private equity shop, wonderful people that I was partners with. But I was tired, not physically, but this was a grinding business. And I decided, listen, you're 48 years old. If you're going to do something different, you better do it now, because otherwise you just won't do it. So I entered into an incredibly amicable and cordial, sort of separation with my partners, and I started a consulting business where we consulted for retailers, did senior headhunting for retailers. I opened up a shop in the Empire State Building, and frankly, I was bored, Michael. It was a nice living, and it was, but I had been accustomed to getting in at 7 in the morning and working.
It was a different environment. Now, it was very interesting because I was reading in an article that, you know, the Handlers, you know, Jerry, rest in peace, the Handlers and the Galins were friends over the years, probably close to 30 years. I mean, they found you space originally, and then when the space expanded and you negotiated, then you moved to the building which was owned by Newmark and Handler on 528th Avenue, and after that you even progressed to the famed Starrett Lehigh building.
At $5 a foot.
Okay, at $5 a foot. And then, so what happened was one day with Jerry, Handler, and Scott?
Well, Jerry, as you say, when my dad leased our first office at 229 West 36th Street in the early 70s, and the building was owned by Jerry Handler and some partners, and I met his son Scott, who was a couple of years older than me, and we became acquaintances. He married a woman I knew. I got married at the same time. Our kids were identical ages, in identical grades, so we became friends. And then, as you say, we needed much bigger space. We moved into the big 528th Avenue building, and Scott and I became good friends, and our families became good friends, and so.
So how did it happen that you got involved?
Well, Scott and I sort of always, talked whimsically about this, and I said, we'll see, and whatever. And so one day, while I was in this consulting business, we met each other in Long Island at a car wash. It was 5 degrees out, and he was in line in his car. I had gotten my ticket. I jumped in his car just so I could warm up, and he said, let's have lunch next week. I said, sure. We met and we had lunch, and I think I said, I'm a little nudgy, and he said, well, maybe now. And so we chatted, and he and I and Jerry chatted, and 5 years ago, I think this week, I sort of showed up in a very different capacity and said, let's give this a whirl.
Right, and so let's talk about Handler Real Estate today. I mean, you own a number of buildings.
Yes.
And you're also growing the brokerage business. Talk to me about what you're doing.
Yes, well, we own 3 buildings, principally own them. We have investments, Handro does, in several other properties where we're limited partners. And we also built a brokerage business. There was a nominal brokerage business there before, but now we have 7 or 8 brokers. The preponderance of our deals are outside third-party tenant rep deals. Fortunately, we don't have much space of our own to lease. And so we're going to build that area of the business. We are looking for additional property. We're about to close on a couple of limited partner deals in the tri-state area in the next few months. So we're going to keep our buildings well polished. We're going to try to find some additional property and, as you say, grow the business.
So let's talk about the family. So you met this woman who was the college student, and your wife's name is?
Joyce.
Joyce, and how long you married now?
She'll be mad at me. 32 years.
32 years, and you have 3 children.
I have 3 boys.
Okay, tell me about them, their ages, and what they do today. The oldest is 29.
I have a 28, she'll get mad at me again, 28 or 29-year-old boy who's married, lives with his wife, who's a very accomplished attorney.
What's his name, please?
His name is Zachary.
Right.
And 30 years ago, Zachary was sort of a cool, uncommon name that everyone teased me about.
So Zachary is married to who?
Zachary's married to Krista, and they live in Madison, Wisconsin. And he did Teach for America after Northwestern and grad school, and then opened up, taught in Harlem for 2 years for Teach for America, and now has his own education business based in Madison. He does tutoring, college counseling.
So that he's the oldest. And the next one?
I have my middle son, Alex, who's 25. Alex also graduated college, went to Fordham grad school, got a double master's in education, and Alex is a teacher now, teaching first graders in Westchester.
And the baby, 17-year-old?
The 6-foot baby is a junior in high school, and he's getting ready to go sow his oats soon.
Okay, so you know what? For the kid who grew up under the push cart, want to start, who started at 13 on 34th Street, you've had a very interesting life, and thanks for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.